Oh, so yeah, I just got a new order in from northerntint.com. They were having an overstock sale, so I got a 20-inch by 100-foot roll of 5% for like $48 or something. It was pretty cheap, but so got some 5% and some 20%. I still haven't done these little corner windows yet. I'm gonna redo those ones. I got 50% on the front, 20% on these ones, 5% on those ones. Yeah, like 5% on that one, but pay no attention to that. So this is the amateur way to tint windows. I'm not a professional. I don't know, I'll probably teach you the wrong way to do it, but it works. I mean, these windows don't look too bad. Can't tell from the outside if there's any problems with it or anything. But you roll it down and the whole window shifts, and then you got a little gap there. You just pull it back. No one knows. Stop it. There you go. So yeah, that's basically what we're going for. When I do roll-up windows, I like to take the door panel off. It makes it a little easier so you don't have to tuck it down in there. Yeah, there's another thing I gotta work on, but ran out of tint on the other side, so that's like a piece of shop tint. It's been laying around in my garage here and just kind of, collecting dust like this here. So that's why I ordered new tint. I want to give this back window another shot. If anyone has any tips on how to do the whole heat shrink thing, I mean, this is better than some of the other ones I've done. All right, but I mean, this side's almost perfect. There's a little guy there, and some other this and that. Also, my window is too big for the 20-inch roll. I wanted to go with the bigger roll, but it was too expensive. So, plus this is the only thing I would use it for, is this like 5-foot window. But so I had to do a 2-piece, like 2 different strips, So there's a seam going down the middle. If anyone knows how to make it look better, like how to blend the seams, I guess that's what I'm what I'm going for. Because that just kind of looks a little goofy. You can see it a little better on the inside. These are the tools of the trade. This is a razor blade used for scraping the dirt off. You might want to get a cleaner razor blade than I have. This is just a squeegee on one side, hard card on the other. I don't really use this one much just because it's kind of goofy shaped. It's good for, you can see the tips bent, because you can take a rag and stick it on there and get it up in the rubber gasket, clean that out real good. I love this thing here, the little chiseler. Cracked though, but it's great for especially these little windows and stuff. It's a nice little tool. And like on the back window, getting down into there is a tough thing to do. So I also like it because it's got these rounded edges on it, so you can use it when you're cutting out your tint. I used it on these front ones to just kind of make a smooth round edge instead of like trying to cut like a little triangle thing and everything. But see, I like that little guy there. And this is razor blade knife, extendable. I don't know, it came with the little kit that I got. And then I bought this, forget how much it was, but it's just like a squeegee. Also works as a hard card. I like this thing too. It's nice for cleaning the windows, and if you're doing a big window. So, and this is my tint solution. This is a pressure sprayer. Get them at hardware stores, whatever. I mean, don't go and steal your dad's, after he's been using it to spray bugs and fertilizer, because that's probably not good to mix with tint solution. I buy my tint solution. You can make it. It's just like a soap that you mix with the water and stuff. But I don't know. I ran out and I used some baby shampoo. I think I got it a little too strong though, because this tint didn't really want to stick, and you had to hard card it for 20 minutes, and just was no fun at all. So yeah, I'm gonna tint this little window here for you, show how I do it and everything. Oh, another thing you're gonna need is, I just use regular like rags, paper towels, whatever. You're supposed to use like linen free stuff, but come on, don't want to get too professional. So that's what I use. I've used paper towels before. I used paper towels on this window. I used them on my truck windows. You can't really tell the difference. It's just like the little fibers and stuff, jump in there when you're not looking and, screw up the tint, but I've never really noticed it. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's see if I can't find somewhere to put the camera down. Yeah, first thing you're going to want to do is take tint solution, pump her up. Probably could have done this before the video started, but whatever. Then This one's got the little adjustable guy, you know, so I can make it like a fine mist. And trying to find right there is probably good. So yeah, just spray down around the area too. And then you just take your little squeegee and wipe her down. Try to get as much of the dirt and crap off as you can. You want to get the area around the door so that you don't get the tint dirty, because you cut it to fit the window before you put it on the inside, and if you get like a little bit of dirt on the tint and you're using the hard card, it'll just, you know, mess everything up. Get little scratches in your tint and stuff. So just want to clean the affected area here. Just get it nice and clean. So yeah, that's how you clean the outside of the window. And then you take sprayer down again just to get it wet so that the tint will stick. So now you take your tint and you kind of measure it out. Get like a rough estimate of how big your window is going to be. Just, you know, if anything, cut bigger than your window so you don't end up short. Done that a couple times. Just take your knife and cutter. Yeah, there's your piece of tint. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get the tint facing the right way, you know, because there's a liner, and if you cut it the wrong way and you peel it off and it's, you know, it's backwards, then you're over there cleaning the other window trying to prep that one real quick. So basically, to figure it out, you take the tint, roll it over, and just rub it together. There's one side you'll be able to feel it's slippery. Go it the other way and it sticks. The side that sticks is the tint side. So whenever you're you know, cutting your tint to the window, you want the liner side out, because if you think about it, with the liner side out, when you put it on the inside, the liner side is going to be in. So you know, you slippery side, boom. All right, so then you just kind of fit it to your window here. I like to try to use like the, you know, like a factory edge to get like a nice straight edge like that. So I can line that right up in there. So then there's less cutting and everything. So yeah, now it's on there. And you can take your little squeegee, just kind of to get it smoother there on the window. And then you want to take your knife and just start cutting it so that it fits nice and tight. So you just kind of pull it down like that. And I find it easiest if you cut with the knife at like a real sharp angle here, you know, like real close to it. You don't want to be out like this. I find that if you hold it nice and close to the window like that, it'll give you a nice cut. So hold it as tight as I can to the bottom and cut across to there. And then when you're peeling your tint off, always pull, you know, away from your tint, because if it catches like that, it'll rip down instead of ripping up into the part you just cut. Sometimes you get like these little corners and they're really hard to like cut just because of the way that they are, you know. So what I'll do is I'll take it off like that and re-stick it, and, you know, use my little hard card here as kind of like a template, and that holds the tint down nice and tight. And just scrape across her. Of course, you end up cutting off part of your hard card a lot of times, but when I basically cut, I just got to get like a little circular thing up in this top edge here. The most important part, don't rush, you know. Because I rushed on the roll-up windows on the back here, and the front ones I took my time and it turned out a lot nicer. I saw in one video you can actually take like a button off your shirt. I mean, I wouldn't recommend taking it off your shirt, but find a button and you stick it underneath the tint and use it as like a background, and you can cut through the tint a lot easier. Smooth cut and everything. So yeah, basically there's my little triangle. So now we're going to prep the inside of the window. Alright, so prep the window, take your tint solution, give her a good spray down, You know, and again, get the extremities too. Now this is where the razor blade comes in. You just take your razor blade and scrape the window, and this will get any dirt that's stuck to the window and scrape it off. That way there's nothing behind your tint that you'll be able to see on the outside. So make sure you get the whole window. And go ahead and spray her down again. Take one of your rags, and I'm going to use this hard card here just to take and get any dirt that's up under that edge. It's not much, because I think I tinted these windows once before and I really didn't like it, so I took it off. You just want to make sure you get them nice and clean. Because any dirt back there is a spot that could potentially start peeling. And one thing you hear a lot is you can never use too much tint solution. Alright, so now that that side is prepped, we're going to take and peel the tint off. And peel the liner off the tint. So, the easiest way that I have found to peel the tint from the liner is tape. Just take some Scotch tape. You tape to one side, and then you tape it to the other side, and then it might take a couple of tries. See now the liner starts to peel, and this is kind of a difficult part to do by yourself, but as you're peeling it, you don't want any dirt to get on it or anything, or it to stick to itself. So you take your tint solution and just spray it down real good. This will keep any dirt that's in the air from sticking to it, dirt that's on your fingers, any kind of dirt, that'll keep it from sticking to the tint. Clean your hands before you start all this too. You just want to keep that nice and wet. And while that's wet, I'm going to go ahead and wet the inside of the window again real good, making sure to get all the extremities again. And then you're going to move your camera so you can get the whole process here. So now that that's all done, take your tint off the outside of the window, place it on the inside, and try to, squeeze it underneath all the different parts and whatnot. Try to fill the whole window in. A lot of times you're not going to get a perfect cut every time, so you're going to have to make some adjustments, but try to fit her in there nice and good. Try to get it as tight of a fit as possible, because you can see here I didn't do that here. So now that tint, there's a nice gap. So once you have it just about right, give yourself a little spray on the inside of the tint there so that you don't scratch it with your hard card. And then you just, start in the middle. Give her a nice little swipe down. You don't want to press too hard yet, because you'll start to pull the tint around with the card. This is just, to get some of the water out. And still you can kind of move it around a little bit, kind of align it where you want it. And once you start pressing harder on it, it's not, it'll start to stick more, and you won't be able to move it around. So move it around while you can. Depending on how much tint solution you used, it may take a while for it to start to stick, just keep squeegeeing it out. And then down here there's one of these rubber gaskets, like on the window here for sliding up and down and stuff. Just get that behind there, just kind of push it down underneath there. This window, it doesn't matter too much because it's not like a roll-up window, but with this window, if you get it wrong, and it's flipped upside down and it dries and it sticks to the guy here and you roll it down, it's going to peel the tint off and stuff. So you want to make sure if you're doing roll-up windows, you get it below the little guy here, make sure it's all stuck to the window. And even my little chiseler isn't little enough to get up to the top there, but it turned out pretty nice. And then what you want to do is take and, as you're getting near to the end here, now take and close the window, wipe down the outside, and you'll be able to see any air bubbles, like right there, you can see that. you know, because I haven't pushed that up yet, but you know, if you got like air bubbles in it, or, you know, spots that are all goofy, you can see them on the outside a lot better than you can on the inside. So, you know, just give them a little wipe down. You know, so now I know I got to fix that spot there. Might have to trim it a little because, you know, it's a little goofy, but we'll figure it out. So basically that's how I tint windows. You know, it's a little bit different for the roll-up windows, but a lot of times what I do for them, to trim this top edge, you take and roll down the window just a hair like that, and then you leave the tint hang over a little bit, and then you just take your little knife and you just kind of run it along the edge and it'll cut it if you get it right. But mine weren't too great. You can see they're not very smooth, but you know, it's better than some. So, you know, and it's only 50%, so it's not even that noticeable. Like, it just adds a little bit of darkness. But with the back windows being 20%, you know, it looks pretty dark. You can't really see in there. But, so, yep. Any questions, leave them below.